Welcome back to another episode of Full Courtney Press. I'm your host, Courtney Mims, and thanks for joining us today to talk a little bit of Arkansas basketball. And the guy joining me to do just that, you know him, you love him. We've had him on for season 1. You guys said, Courtney, is he going to be back for season 2? I said, absolutely. It's Kevin McPherson, Hogville.net writer and Hog Hoops insider as well. Kevin, thanks so much for joining me on the show today.
Courtney, it's great to be with you. I feel like we just saw each other, and it's never too soon to reconnect. So I'm glad we're doing this.
I'm glad we are too, because the last time we saw each other, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, we were both in Memphis to see the Hogs take down the Tigers. And it was such a cool experience. First of all, I've never been to the FedEx Forum. I've just never been able to go see a game there, and I've wanted to go see a Grizzlies game there for a long time. So that was really cool that I got to go experience that. It was cool that they got to honor Cal's former players before the game. Like 40 of them showed up. That was awesome. And then it was also awesome to see the Hogs get a win. We didn't know if that would be the case in the start of that game. But the Hogs ended up coming back from a 15-point deficit to beat the Tigers 99-75. Kevin, let's talk about this game for just a second here, because at the start of that game, the Tigers were doing everything they could. They were out physicaling Arkansas. They were aggressive. It was just like, wow. Oh my goodness, they're doing everything right. And Arkansas just looks like a different team than the one that we saw absolutely pummel Cincinnati at home just the Friday before. So I was kind of going, what's going on? I know Coach Cal was too. I was right behind their bench, and he was looking up and down going, what is happening? So thankfully they got it together, but I think there's a bigger kind of message here. And Coach Cal kind of briefly talked about it a little bit in the postgame. Just seeing the fight that these guys had. There's a lot of teams out there that would have been down 15 in an exhibition game and gone, well, great. You know, we're down 15. We're not going to. They came back, and they came back with a vengeance. That's got to be a good sign for the future, right?
I think it's a great sign for the future. Look, I got there 4 hours early. So by the time the game was actually starting, it was a late start, and then it was a late start on top of a late start. I was ready for a nap, and then I had a little caffeine. I'm like, wait a minute. It's okay for someone my age being here 4 hours needing a nap. Why does the team look like it needs a nap? The Razorbacks came out looking a little flaccid. You know, they were kind of, you know, I don't want to say just going through the motions and not playing with effort, but they were not on the same level that Memphis came out in terms of intensity and bringing the fight. And I think that's why you ask about the future and the team being able to respond to that. They didn't just respond and make it a game. They blew this team out in the end. And so Arkansas didn't just catch up and play a competitive, let's see what happens here at the finish. And we saw a lot of that last year. Get a double-digit lead, maybe you're down double digits, you get competitive, and then at the end you start shooting yourself in the foot, self-inflicted wounds, maybe not having all the, you know, belief that you can win a game. And then by the time you get to postseason last year, Courtney, Arkansas kind of figured it out until Texas Tech helped remind us, yeah, this has been an Arkansas team having lost 13 games previous to this one, where they didn't figure things out even at the end, even though they should have. This team is leaving no doubt. I mean, horn-to-horn domination over Cincinnati 3 days prior to that. And then really the second half, the last 19 minutes, Arkansas outscores Memphis 57-24, plus 33 in the last 19 minutes, more than doubling up. You know, on its way, if there had been more clock, Arkansas would have been 3-1 in the last 20 minutes on the scoreboard. That's really rare. I don't care the level of competition. And Memphis, you know, they've rebuilt, but I think Arkansas made a statement despite the early part of the game was the wrong kind of a statement. You want to finish like Arkansas did regardless of the start.
Absolutely. And I think you touched on something there, that it was like, hey, they kind of woke up. And I don't know what exactly happened, but I remember Coach Cal kind of joking with us, because he said this to a couple of fans who were sitting next to their bench, and we had overheard it. When they started coming back, he looked at those fans and said, we should be down by 20 right now. We should be down by 20 with the way we're playing. And they still weren't. They still weren't. And so to me, that goes, wow, this team, even when they play poorly, even when they're not doing well, even when they're playing like that, to still have that fight, to still make it a ball game, to still come back, and then, like you said, completely dominate at the end of the game. That's what people remember. They don't think about, hey, how did you start? It's how you finish. A lot of people don't remember, well, we do here in Arkansas, but I was on a national show today, and people were like, oh, yeah, they had a really rocky start in SEC play. I went, really rocky? I would say a bit more than really rocky. They were 0-5. I mean, that doesn't inspire anybody. And so I think you're exactly right. It's how you finish. I want to talk a little bit about some performances because I had an opportunity to sit down with Malik Thomas here on the show just last week. And man, oh man, Kevin, do I absolutely love this guy. If he's not a fan favorite, he needs to be. Go watch last week's episode, and then you can watch this episode right now. Just turn it off. Turn it off right now. Go watch last week's episode, and then you can watch this week's episode, because I want to talk about him with you, Kevin, because you've been covering him you've been following him in the high school ranks for quite some time, obviously, when Arkansas was interested in him. And so just watching him play, even in just these 2 exhibition games, but he was the leading scorer in that win over Memphis with 23 points on 9 of 15 shooting. He was 3 of 7 from the 3. He had 7 rebounds, which also tied the team for the most on the team that night with Carter Knox and Trevin Brazil. But then he also had 4 assists and 4 steals too. I mean, come on. And he's a freshman. And what I love about him, Kevin, so much, and I've been talking to so many people about this, is that usually with freshmen, that they get in a mindset, they get on the court, they'll shoot. If they miss, it affects them. It affects their brain. They go, oh man, I missed that. I need a score, right? And then it starts, getting into their mindset. And it starts affecting that mentality. He's fearless. He has the mind of a goldfish. He could go down, shoot the ball, miss. Next time they come down the court, he'll shoot it again, make it. No recollection of that he missed that shot. No, hey, it's affecting me. No, he's just going to be fearless. He's just going to keep taking shots and making them, and he can score in so many ways as well. Kevin, what do you like about Malik? And then I didn't even mention Darius here, but just talk about the freshmen in that game and just how incredible they were.
Yeah, I feel the same way. One of the earmarks of a great shooter is that you have to have a short memory, and you can tell he's not hesitating. He's got a really good rhythm, a quick release. And he's a guy that shot nearly 8.5 threes per game last year at Overtime Elite, around 38% from 3. And so you think about that and you go, that is really high volume, and that is efficient. So far in 2 exhibition games, about 6.5 threes per game, so a little under that number, which is, sometimes freshmen don't have that kind of a green light. You might see it cut in half. He's not too far off the volume, but he's nearly 50% in 2 exhibition games. Pump the brakes a little bit. We know how exhibition results have fooled us in recent past at Arkansas. But when I interviewed him in in Kansas City in the spring and summer basketball in May of 2024, I believe, I was blown away, not just by the interview, but before that. And when I interviewed him, I said, man, he's one of my favorite players to cover because of he's got the alpha dog mentality, a lot of confidence, and just the way he competes and the energy he plays with and that positive belief. I just really liked him. And then you mentioned your interview with him, but that stuff aside, he's going out and backing up, and it's not cocky bravado. It's more about a real confidence that's leveled by being coachable. Everything I've heard is that he's been eyes wide open since he's been on that campus with Calipari, listening to everything he's being told and then taking it to heart and trying to implement it. I don't think your talent is everything. I think it's how hard you work, how coachable are you, and then going out there and playing fearless and trying to back up that talent with belief in self, and then you execute and produce and you have positive impact. He's been Arkansas's best player in the exhibition season. Not only their leading scorer, you mentioned it, the rebounding, the assists, the steals, how he was kind of the catalyst. He and Billy Richmond III, Malik Ewan, all three playing off the bench, by the way, of turning that thing around. You mentioned freshman Darius Acuff, second leading scorer in both exhibition games, 5.5 assists to only 1 turnover in those 2 games. That's the kind of stuff. Now, maybe some of the shot selection comes into question, and Calipari did that against Memphis. You know, it was a mixed bag. He did a really good job finishing, getting downhill, and then other plays maybe ill-advised on the shot attempt. But you look at his ball security and then setting up teammates, led the team in both games in assists, and again, 5.5 to 1 assist per outing in exhibition season. And, oh, by the way, at 6'2", 6'3", averaging 4 rebounds. You put he and Malik together, they're averaging 30, and they're averaging 37 points, 11 rebounds, and 9 assists. The duo in exhibition season was 1 assist short of together averaging a triple-double. That tells you that the productivity from both is at a really high level already. Now, again, let's see when it's real bullets, real teams, that games count. Not that those weren't real teams, but you know what I mean? It's a different dynamic when it's on the line. But look, these guys look really good. And arguably Arkansas's 2 best players in exhibition season.
I would argue, Kevin, and you're exactly right. I had no idea when you combine them, the stat line of both. I'm just like, whoa. And when you put it that way, it's like, wow, these might be the best freshman duo in the country. I'm going to say that right now. That they might be. I really think so. But I'm going to say this, Kevin. Yes, these games did not count, but you could have fooled me that game with Memphis. I think those players believed that counted.
Yeah.
They believed it because you look at that atmosphere. I was talking to somebody who covers a bunch of Grizzlies games, who covers a bunch of Memphis's games, right? And they work at the FedEx Forum, and she looked at me with these eyes, and she goes, "Is this a rivalry game?" And I looked at her and I said, "What?" She goes, "Is this a rivalry game?" And I said, no, not traditionally, no, no. And she said, "You could have fooled me. This is one of the most exciting atmospheres I've been to for an exhibition game." And I said, "But there's so much. There's just Coach Cal coming back, right? And just Memphis wanting this matchup. There has been a lot of people who wanted to see this matchup. And so getting to see it, I hope it happens again. I really do. I know Calipari was asked about it. I hope it happens again. I really do. I hope they can get it on the schedule because I think it'd be fun if this game counted. But you could have fooled me, Kevin, that this game did not count because these players cared. These players felt like everything was on the line. So,
and the game was it was competitive for 34, 35 minutes. The other thing is, it didn't have the feel of a true road game. What I really liked about it, it was a great crowd, a big crowd, and it was about half and half. And so when your team, whatever fan base you were, did something good, it was loud cheers. You didn't hear a lot of booing like you would in a true road game if you were the road team. In this sense, Arkansas was a road team, but both fan bases showed up, and so it was cheers back and forth. It was almost like arm wrestling with the fans, with the level, the decibel level of their cheering. So it was a little bit different atmosphere that made it feel like a little extra. And you're thinking, this is only an exhibition game when the dust settles. But while it was going on, it did feel like something more. And it was a good test for Arkansas. Arkansas needed a challenge on the road, some adversity to have to overcome. Doesn't need to be a coast-to-coast beauty like Cincinnati was at home in the friendly little confines of Bud Walton Arena. You needed to go away from home. Yeah, a lot of your fans were there, but get tested, have some adversity. Because guess what? Southern's next, and it's real all of a sudden. But at the end of the week, you're in East Lansing, Michigan, for Michigan State, a ranked team, on the road, true road game, in the first week of the season. I mean, it's all right in front of us. I think you needed that, and I think you wanted it to feel real at times, even though it didn't count.
Yeah, and it's crazy to look at that schedule because you brought it up, so I want to like go through it for people that don't really understand. Yeah, you have you're at Michigan State literally next week, next Saturday. Just let that settle in. That they needed a test, and I know it's not a true road game, but you were on the road. Like you said, a lot of Memphis fans there, I think they needed to see that atmosphere. They needed to get a taste of that. And even for the freshmen, like we talked about, Malik and Darius, that just goes to show how mature they are as well. That they were able to go to that environment and it really didn't faze them. I didn't see, I didn't see visibly that they were fazed by that. They were excited about it. Malik, I mean, he was getting the crowd amped up. I remember him looking and clapping and, he was kind of, yeah, let's hear it. And so that just goes to show you got two freshmen and 5-star. Yes, I get it. 5-star guys, McDonald's All-Americans. They've seen environments like this, but this was a good test for the team all around, those young guys, everybody. And so I'm excited to get your thoughts on this really quickly. We're going to talk about that first week. We're going to talk about that game against Southern. We're going to talk about Michigan State as well. But before we get to that, I know I just mentioned the freshmen, but you've got to feel a lot more comfortable this year, Kevin. Because for me, and I know my dad said this right off the bat with Arkansas when we were talking about the team just last week. Courtney, you've got to feel more comfortable going into the season if you're Coach Cal because you have more depth. And you really feel good that you have 8 guys, even a 9th with Isaiah, right? I mean, I'm going to say that because I really think Isaiah can be that 9th guy for them. Just needs to do a little, clean up a little things here and there, but then he can be that 9th guy. You've got to feel good that you have depth because even when Nick Pringle, right? Even when Nick Pringle gets into foul trouble in that game, I don't think anybody was truly worried to put in, okay, let's get Malik Ewan in. Let's play a little bit of a different lineup. Let's experiment a little bit. And again, they still won that game. So it was good to see even that portion of it. Kevin, what do you see about some of those other guys and just how do you feel about the depth overall right now?
Oh, I mean, I've said it for months. Arkansas has 8 starters. And then John Calipari has backed up that very notion in these games because he has a different starting group to start the second half. And you think, well, you were up by 20 against Cincinnati. That was easy to do. You had a big lead. You weren't going to lose that game. You were down 3 at halftime against Memphis, and you jumbled things up. He's got 8 starters. It really doesn't matter who begins games on the court first. That's how good the group is. Let's look at who the top 3 players were production-wise and who kind of turned the tide for Arkansas. All 3 of them played off the bench in the first half. We talked so much about Malik Thomas. Malik Ewan, off the bench, didn't start at the 5 spot. Billy Richmond III didn't start at the wing spot. He got his homecoming. Fantastic game for him at both ends. Knocking down threes, blocking shots, doing the other things Billy does. Malik Ewan owning that low post. I mean, owning it. Throw the ball in him. He's going to make a pass. He's going to finish around the basket. Oh, you want to foul him to stop the shot? We're not a good free throw shooting team so far, but Malik Ewan made 7 of 7. Your muscle inside, they don't always make free throws, your big men, but he did. So, yeah, this team, I mean, we can go through every name. DJ Wagner, who didn't put up big numbers in the preseason, the exhibition season, but Arkansas fans know what he is. He's a preseason all-SEC pick now by the coaches and media. He's going to have his share of success. And then Carter Knox, Trevor Brazile, they started slowly. And then by the end of that game, it was all hands on deck, and those guys were starting to throw sledgehammers at Memphis as well. And it was like an avalanche of Razorbacks at that point. You talk about depth. When it's quality 1 through 8 and all of them have starter value, once it starts clicking with all of them, and it also means if you've got 2 or 3 or 4 of them having an off night, the other ones are picking up the slack and carrying it and helping you overcome that 15-point deficit and helping you trade blows for a while until everybody is on board with the same assignment. Arkansas is going to be hell to deal with and to beat because of the depth, because 1 through 8 is so quality. I say it all the time. They're not just 8 guys with starter value at Arkansas. You could plug and play these guys just about anywhere, including most SEC teams, as starters.
Yeah.
So 1 through 8, that is a luxury. It is a spoil of riches, let me tell you.
Oh yeah, I mean, you just have to feel really, really good about it, and I can tell where the confidence comes from with this team. They're not perfect. They're not. I mean, there are things that you just
Yeah.
mentioned that they are not perfect. These are just exhibition games, but you like where this team is heading. Okay. We have a little bit of time, and I promised you we would talk a little bit about these first 2 games of the season for Arkansas. You know, Kevin, I asked you before we went on. I was like, "Hey, you want to talk a little bit about Southern?" And you were like, "Yeah, we can talk about Southern. Yeah, Arkansas is going to beat Southern. There you go. that's the extent of the talk about them. Is there anything else you want to say about that opening matchup at Bud Walton Arena? It'll be nice to get the fans excited the first game of the season. If it is a blowout win, I still think that's very exciting for fans. Just who maybe haven't gotten to see the exhibition, game against Cincinnati, right?
Yeah, here's the thing. Arkansas is going to win that game. That's one of the things. Southern wins also. This is a bye game for Arkansas. Southern's going to get a nice check. And the other thing is, if Southern comes in and gives Arkansas any trouble anywhere, it helps expose some things that the team needs to work on, some things that need to be addressed. So if you have a clunky night, you're still going to win. Arkansas is going to win this game if it comes in with its D- game. It just is. And so you can learn from a game like that. Or the alternative is you'd rather be playing up to your abilities and come in with that hard hat and that business approach to, we mean it this year. This is a team that's different, and you want to come in with your best foot forward and treat it like you did Cincinnati and blow out both halves. But whether it's that good or really bad or somewhere in between, you're going to pick up a W. What can you learn and build on from that? Because, again, it gets real serious at the end of week 1. It gets real serious, and Southern helps you, and you're helping Southern out too. It's a SWAC program. It's one that's had success in that league. But Arkansas is going to start 1-0, Courtney.
Oh, I agree with you completely. I mean, I don't think that was in question. I don't think, I really love you, Southern. Love you if we have any Southern fans listening to the podcast.
The Jaguars.
Hey, there you go. See, the Jaguars fans. There you go. I do think they'll start the season 1-0. Good little confidence boost as well if you can go out there and blow them out and feel good about how you played in that game in all facets of the game, right? I hope they don't find a lot of chinks in the armor, right? Because I'd like them to go out there and just completely dominate. And I think Arkansas fans would like that too. Okay. Michigan State on Saturday gets very real for this team. The very first weekend of the season as they head to East Lansing, like we said. Kevin, I mean, this is tough competition early on. I mean, we are really, really going to find out what this team is truly, truly made of the second game of the regular season. I mean, what are you specifically looking for in this game?
Well, I think the blue-collar toughness that took a few minutes to show up against Memphis. I hope Arkansas learned a lesson there, and when the first horn sounds and that ball goes up, that they're really dialed in. Give Memphis some credit, but I thought Arkansas was a little lackadaisical in some ways. Not saying that they didn't respect the other guy, but you're going to go to East Lansing. It's another Hall of Fame coach in Tom Izzo. A team coming off an Elite Eight, the defending Big Ten champs. If you're not motivated, if you're not fully awake, and there's no excuse to be sleepwalking in that game on Saturday. We're 9 days away from that. It comes really fast. You're going to have some feel good after Southern. Then you got a few days to get ready. I'm looking for Arkansas to go establish the bully ball. That's the strength of this team. Get downhill, play above the rim, get out in transition. I call it boxing comparisons, head and body shots. Don't just throw little jabs. Don't take wild punches just at the head. Just steady flurry, body and head. Get inside and just keep attacking. That's the strength of this team. And I think you have to go with that kind of bravado and confidence on the road, especially, and not let the home team dictate what you're going to do. You dictate what you want to do. And this team with the retention, the talent, all of these things, more physical this year. That's what I'm looking for Arkansas to do, to go on the road and make a statement by playing to its strength. And that's taking the fight right inside and right to them.
I love it. And I like that as well, because after the way they started against Memphis, I feel like if you come out with strength, with a great start, even if it's a competitive ball game, to just come out and look the part in that one. I mean, yes, you want to win the game, but you can't start out like you did against Memphis. You just can't do that against these guys. They'll take advantage of it. So I agree with you completely. You've got to bully them early on, and you've got to do it. Memphis did it early on in that game. I went, ooh.
Yeah.
Woo.
Yeah, look, Arkansas looked like it was waiting for something, and Memphis like, oh, well, we're not waiting. What are you? You go ahead and wait. We're going to do.
Yeah.
You got to come out with that. I'm not waiting. I'm not trying to fill out anything. I'm going to play to my strengths from the get-go, and I'm going to be the one that's going after that 50-50 ball. I'm the one that's going to close out that defensive possession with a rebound. I'm the one that's going to work a little harder to beat my guy, either with a pass or a hard drive, and get to the rim and help my teammate out if that's the best play. You got to have that mindset out of the beginning. I'm not saying this team completely lost sight of that, but for whatever reason, they were sluggish, kind of sleepwalking a little bit there, and I don't think you want to do that a week from this Saturday in East Lansing, Michigan.
Like I said, I think they're going to take advantage of that. They are going to take advantage of that, and it could be even worse than a 15-point deficit, right? I mean, we're talking about 15-point deficit with Memphis. Could be even worse of a hole that they're in if they do that come this Saturday. Kevin, thank you so much for joining me on the show. We're going to have much more Full Courtney Press coming up after the break. I have an amazing interview with not an Arkansas Razorback this week, no, but a Little Rock Trojan instead. He was the OVC Defensive Player of the Year last year. So that's going to come next on the show. Stay with us. Welcome back to another episode of Full Courtney Press, and we have been killing it with interviews so far, and I'm really excited for this next one. Joining me on the show is OVC Defensive Player of the Year last year. You might know him, Little Rock forward Toon Gatkick. I gotta know, where'd the nickname Toon come from? Just a shortening of your name?
Yep, so my full name is Tuongthach, and in 4th grade my teacher had changed it to Toon, and I just stuck with it.
I love it. People love that name, and they'll say it on ESPN. They'll say it all the time. I didn't even know your full name until somebody had to say, you know, that's not his full name. And I went, what? Yeah. They say it all the time. It's Toon, right? So I love that. Toon, you know, you are from Maine, right? But that's not where you're originally from, right?
No. So my ethnicity is South Sudanese, East African. Yep. But my parents migrated to Maine.
Wow. Is there anything cool that you like to do when you're in that part of the world?
Honestly, personally, I've never been there. Yeah.
What?
I was born in Maine. I never left the U.S.
No way. So you've never been back. Never. Is that something you want to do?
Yep. So I'll be graduating in May, and this summer I should be able to go back with my dad.
Wow. What are you most excited for to see there?
Honestly, meeting like new relatives and just learning like more about my culture, to be honest. So.
That is so cool. I love that. I love that. You have kind of a crazy background, and not crazy maybe isn't the best word for it, but just that I feel like you've just made stops literally everywhere. Like you said, you're from Maine, but then, you know, you went Florida, right? And then Texas State, and now here. So describe your basketball journey for us and just what it has been like going to so many different places.
So it's been a journey because like in middle school, I went to 3 different middle schools, and it was just like, I just kept moving and moving. I feel like that kind of helped me though. Now like I've been transferring. I started off at a junior college, if you didn't know, and then went to Florida. But it's just like these changes, I've been meeting a lot of great people. So I think everything happens for a reason. So I wouldn't change it.
How has it helped you? Just because at every stop, you know, it's a little bit different, a little bit different system. You know, you were under Mike White at Florida, and so he has a different system than Darrell Walker. And so, what was it like just adjusting to different coaches and just adjusting to different places and how they play basketball?
So adjusting to different coaches, you got to be coachable. You know, if you go in willing to learn, you're gonna learn. So that's kind of how I picked up throughout the years. Just, hey, do this, ask coaches this, and it just got me to where I'm at now. And with like moving from like Little Rock to San Marcos to Gainesville, I stay to myself a lot. And with all these moves, it made me like reach out and like, oh, I want more friends, or like, I don't know. I just kind of was outgoing, like, so I made like a lot of friends. So that's all I could say.
Yeah, made a lot of friends throughout the years, and now you're at Little Rock. Obviously, I just said OVC Defensive Player of the Year last year, which is pretty big. I mean, what was that like, just to have that honor and be that last year and have your game be recognized like that?
Honestly, I didn't think I was gonna win because my 3-game suspension. So it was like, defensive player wasn't even like in my any thought. So like when I got the award, I was shook.
For you coming back, that probably was a pretty easy decision just because of Coach Walker and just what the Trojans were building and leading up to for this season. You know, why did you want to come back?
Honestly, it's like with the new transfers and all the NIL stuff, it's kind of hard to find great coaching staff. And that was one of my biggest things, like throughout college. I just wanted to find a home, and Little Rock was my home.
I love that you say Little Rock's your home. What about this place has been the most special of all of your stops?
Honestly, how it's like, it's a smaller community. So it's like, you're more like, the coaches are more hands-on with the players, and it's family. That's how I could explain it. Yeah,
no, family is a great way to explain it. You can kind of feel it when you go into a practice here. You guys are very close. And even with, obviously you have returners, which is great, but even with the newcomers, how have you guys been able to build that bond very quickly in the off season?
So it's like, we've been teaching the new guys like just everything we've been doing all throughout the summer and now, and they've been picking up pretty fast, And off the court, we just hang out at the apartments and we get stuff to eat. So it's like, we're always together.
Who is the most outgoing on the team?
Honestly, I might say the freshmen, Terrion Burgess and Kellen Robinson.
Why do you say that about them?
Only because they're younger and they have like the new slang and the TikTok lifestyle. So it's like, they're always outgoing, making me laugh, so.
Does it feel like you've really taken on a leadership role going into this year? Obviously hearing from you and Jonathan, I just feel like the younger guys are definitely looking up to you, right?
Definitely.
Why?
Honestly, because I've been in college for the last 4 or 5 years, so it's like, they have like, it's me. So like I work hard, and I kind of show them by like just my examples. If Toon's gonna work hard, I could do it. That's kind of how I go. I'm not really vocal. It's just what I do on and off the court.
Yeah, you don't need it. Actions speak louder than words sometimes, right? That's what you're showing every day, and I love that. This team, obviously adversity. You faced that last year. Well, you're going into this year facing adversity too, with KK out for the season, now Kellen out for the season. Just how are you guys able to just deal with all of that adversity? And you dealt with it last year. I know that you can kind of pull from that, but going into this season, it's like, man, we can't catch a break, right?
Yeah, but Coach Walker always says next man up, and that's kind of how it is. We got Kaysen, the third brother, and he's been doing pretty good. So he's kind of picking up where his brothers left off. So he's been helping us a lot. So
for you, where do you feel like, obviously, getting Defensive Player of the Year last year was awesome, but now you still have room for improvement everywhere. Where do you feel like you want to see your game improve over the course of the season?
I want to shoot the ball more, definitely. Coach Walk been having me in the gym like every day after practice, just shooting. So that's kind of what I've been emphasizing this year, just shooting the ball.
Do you feel like the experience of starting in JUCO, going to Florida in the SEC, then going to Texas State, then coming here, do you feel like that's helped you become a better big man because you've faced so many different types of teams, so to speak?
Definitely. So coming from JUCO, going to Florida, it was like the most drastic change you could possibly do, because you're guarding like 6'11", 350, 7 feet. I'm like, I'd never seen any of these type of players before, so it was like, I had to like work, and from going high to mid to low, like it kind of helped me a lot. So that change from going from JUCO to Florida, that's what really helped me.
Yeah, I feel like you started with the SEC, the gauntlet, and then you're like, okay, here we go, let me find my footing. But I feel like with this team, you guys have enough talent where you could go up against a Power Four. You're saying yes. Why do you feel like this team could go up against anybody in the country?
Only because it's not like last year. We have guys on the bench that could come in and play starter minutes. So it's like, if I get subbed out, there's someone that's going to be doing the same thing I do, if not more. So it's like there's no letting off when we get off or we go deeper into the bench.
What's unique about this team versus last year's team?
The length we have. The length, definitely. We got me, Terion, Kachi, all 7'3" wingspan. So it's like, it's crazy. And then you have Jonathan. So the length is what we got this year.
Oh yeah, you guys have some serious size. I was like, oh my goodness. And the athleticism too. I feel like it's just like, Coach said, we need that. We need to go out and get guys and get that depth, and he did. Do you feel like this team, I mean, last year with all the injuries, with all the adversity went through, you still won 19 games. Yeah. You still got to the OVC championship game. Came up short. I know you guys didn't want that finish. Do you feel like this team has a chance to get back there and win the OVC championship this year?
Definitely. If we keep moving on the same pace we've been moving, I feel like we'll win the OVC. For sure.
Is it because of the talent you have, or is it something else? Is there a mentality different with this team?
I say it's how hard we work and how hard we play. That's what's going to get us that OVC championship.
Is there a player on the team this year that you feel like, okay, people should watch out for him?
There's a couple players.
Okay, you can name a couple, that's fine.
Definitely Braxton Bayless. Braxton, he's been injured, but he's getting back to Braxton. So I can't wait to watch Braxton play. And then Truman Clater.
Why do you say Truman?
Truman, because he came from a JUCO, and so it's like he doesn't really have a name out there, but he's a hooper. And Cam Wallace as well. Cam is tough. With
the young talent you have, because you mentioned, Payson and Kellen, and you mentioned Terion as well. Do you feel like the young talent, you're learning from them, that outgoing nature, that energy? Sometimes they pop in and you're like, whoa, this is giving us so much energy. You feel like you're learning a bit from them?
I definitely do, because I see Terion as a younger me. And he's 6'9", lefty, just like me. So I'm like, dang, that used to be me. I used to love jumping and all that, but I'm starting to slow down a little bit.
Yeah, you played like what, 4 or 5 years in basketball, so you're like, okay, hold on, let the younger guys take care of that. I don't need to do all of that now for this team. What has been your favorite part of playing for the Trojans?
Honestly, I like winning. So it's like every day is like, you're going to win in practice or you're going to lose. So it's like, just keep working. So I kind of feel like my favorite part is honestly playing for Coach Walker.
He's a good coach. What makes him such a great coach?
The way he coaches. He's going to push you every day. And he's not going to let you like BS yourself.
I like that. Is there a game on the schedule that you're looking forward to this year?
Texas State.
Why? Oh, well, duh. I should have known that was going to be your answer. Well, of course, Texas State. That's okay. You have to pick another one.
That's the one.
No, that's the one. He's not going to let me pick.
Everybody's going to have to be at that game. That's going to be my game.
That's going to be your game?
Oh, yeah.
You're booking it now?
Yep.
All right. You guys listen to that. That's on camera. That's Toon's game. You gotta show up. What about this team? I've asked you what's unique about it versus last year, but last year, with all that adversity you guys had to come, how was the team able to overcome it all? And is that something you can pull from and use this year?
Honestly, it was like how together we were. We knew we were missing a couple of guys, and we was like, just keep doing what we do, we'll be all right. And coaches, they just kept pushing us, keep doing what we do, keep doing what we do. And it took us to as far as we could. So.
Do you think you can pull on some of that experience and help you through on this year? Do you feel like that's, while it's never good to go through adversity, but there is something to be said about, okay, we went through it, we're battle tested. Yeah. We're more ready for this year.
I kind of feel like it was better that stuff happened earlier than later in the season, because now we're just switching up lineups and, oh, this guy hasn't played this, he hasn't done that. So going into the season, we kind of know who we have and what we're doing. So it's kind of helped us.
Coach Walker was saying, with some of when you have guys go down, even like last year, he was like, okay, this means I've got to condition them and make sure that they're ready to go. How do you feel like that has been for the team, the conditioning that you've gone through this past off season heading into the season?
Coach Walker he keeps track. He'd be like, well, how do you think your conditioning is? If you're a 6 or a 7, you'd be like, keep working. So it just pushes after every practice we're running. So it's like we'll do extra conditioning with JB. So
okay, you said 6 or 7. You're at a 6 or 7. You don't want. Coach Walker was saying you don't want to have to be at a 10. What's a 6 or 7 to you, for people that don't know?
It's kind of like if you're tired, like you could keep pushing until like you're not. It's kind of like when you're playing basketball, you kind of have like a second breath almost, like when you're tired. It's kind of hard to explain it.
We've talked a lot about this team. We've talked a lot about last year, and we've talked about you're better defensively. Offensively, you think you guys will score at a high clip? You think you got some scorers?
Definitely. We got some scorers from Jonathan Lawson, Kaysen. He's shooting the ball crazy right now. And then we just got, on the wings, we just got some guards that can shoot. So it's like, and we got bigs that can play make. So it's like, we got some scorers this year.
Do you feel like Coach Walker, he said, I have the depth where I can get guys in there. Do you feel like you can play a kind of a few different lineups right now? Can you play big, small?
Yep. You could play all bigs, you could play smalls, you could interchange. It's a crazy year this year.
Is there a guy on this team right now you really, really enjoy being on the court with, and why?
Honestly, I could say Kachi, because he's learning and I'm teaching him a lot. So it's like, I've been having fun playing with Kachi, throwing lobs and all types of stuff to Kachi. So it's been fun. I can't wait for the season.
Where have you been teaching him for his game? Where have you seen his game grown?
Definitely, like at Penn State, he wasn't really like doing too much with the ball. He's just a deep post-up guy. And this year he's been shooting a lot of threes and just like he'll pop, pick and rolls, and he's been getting active. So just more of his movement around the court.
Toon, I think that might be all the questions I have for you. I can't think of anything else. Do you have anything else you want to add?
Go Trojans.
Oh, that's a perfect way to end it. How about we end it on that? Thank you so much for joining me.
I appreciate it.